Hello, everyone. Today, I'm so excited to introduce to you Teal Elizabeth, who is a professionally trained relationship coach who has a deep passion for supporting ambitious single women in attracting loving relationships from a man who embraces and respects them for the powerful women that they are. After going through her own share of dating struggles and heartbreaks, she became determined to master this area in her life. And the principles she shares are tried and true and helped her attract her sweetheart, who is now her fiancé. She makes it her personal mission to support ambitious women just like you in connecting with their most authentic self so they can attract a meaningful, loving relationship while still standing in their power, opening women's hearts to love with ease and joy. Welcome, Teal. I'm so excited for you to be here today.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here as well.
Perfect. So let's just jump right in. I know that you have lots of wonderful wisdom to share with everyone today. What you say you have like three juicy secrets to share with women that help a man fall for them effortlessly without them giving up, their kick-assery, their awesomeness. What would that be? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. I love this title because it just kind of makes people perk their ears up and go, huh, what? But I really believe this. I believe that women of this day and age, and specifically probably women that are drawn to you and to this incredible panel, have an incredible life already, right? Like there's no question in my mind, you girls, you ladies are rocking it. And power to you on that. The challenge comes in with somehow when we apply this amazing lifestyle that we've created in so many areas of our life. We've got the career, we've got the house, we got maybe the dog, we got the great friends. Somehow that when we apply this energy to our love life, it just falls short or it just is empty. I like to think of life in terms of buckets. You check all the buckets, but this love life bucket is just a gaping hole. So that's really what I am here to talk to you about. If you feel like your love life is a gaping hole, you can fix this. And it doesn't mean that your life is, that you're doing anything wrong. There's just a few things that I want to help shift your mindset around that are some juicy secrets that I want to share. Do you want me to dive into
Yes, dive right in. We're diving in.
So the first one is, and before I go into all this, I just want to say that you're not alone in feeling this way. If you're feeling this way, I too felt this way. I had a very, very successful life in all of those ways, climbing the corporate ladder. And then I realized, like, what is wrong? Why can't I find that man that really sees me for who I really am? I seem to be this independent, amazing woman, but it's not translating in my relationships. So the biggest thing that I realized from stepping into really owning this work for myself and for supporting clients is that relationships are different. They're really different in the modern world now. And I want you to know that we are in a time right now, ladies, where we get to really redefine what it means to be a woman, which is really exciting. Because what I'm seeing is that in the modern world, women's empowerment is coming full force, and it is so incredible, right? You agree?
Totally.
And, we're really getting a chance to step up and say, no, like we're equal. We're leaning in at the table. We want all the same rights that men have, but somehow this energy is not translating into relationships. So I want you to know that the first secret is really understanding that we need to shift the way we perceive relationships, and what works in the career world doesn't work in the relationship world.
Yes.
The secret number 2 is all about this idea of stepping into our feminine energy. And this really goes into coming off of secret number 1 of like, okay, well, if it's not working, then how do we need to be, right? What we need to do as strong, ambitious, driven women is to really embody and embrace our feminine energy. And a lot of times when women think about feminine energy, there's this connotation that it's, oh gosh, well, I don't want to be weak. I don't want to be seen as an emotional or needy or clingy or unstable, but that's not true femininity. That's what I like to call toxic femininity, just like there's toxic masculinity. True femininity is about standing in your strength. I almost think about it as like being a goddess, someone that is poised and calm and exudes respect and compassion and love and is very strong in her center, but is able to really be open and soft on her exterior.
Yes.
So that really is what I really help women to do, is to really take out those defenses on the outside and invert it so that they can really open up their hearts to be feminine from that place of strength.
Yes, I love that.
Does this resonate with you at all?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I love it.
Yeah. And then secret number 3 is about really embracing your vulnerability. Once again, I think vulnerability really gets a bad rap. And I'm sure, you know, this is a big hot topic of conversation for many love coaches, because it is the key. It is the key to success in building that intimacy. If men recognize that, one, you're not trying to compete with them or demand equality with them in a relationship as a man, and that 2, you're able to really relax into your femininity and really open up your heart and come from that place of strength, then number 3, if you're able to bring in that vulnerability and share how you're feeling and share your heart without falling to pieces, without blabbing and dumping all your emotions on them, but just really stand in that strength from your heart, that's how he's able to feel your heart and fall in love.
Could you maybe speak to, a lot of people I think misunderstand what vulnerability is. There's lots of different definitions out there, and maybe a little bit about the difference between vulnerability and oversharing.
Yes, great distinction. Yes. You're right, because vulnerability can be taken as, well, I'm just feeling all these feelings, so let me just tell you, right? Or, or just dumping or venting. All of that is what I see as being much more caught up in the emotion and in your feelings. Vulnerability is about processing those feelings and those emotions and really listening to what those feelings are trying to tell you. Feelings are really great messengers. And so if you can process on your own and move through the energy of the feeling and then get the message, then if you stand in that strength from your heart and communicate the message, that is true vulnerability.
I love that, because it's about really standing in your beingness, being present, whereas oftentimes when some people think, oh, I want to really overshare, or I feel like that's being vulnerable, so I'm going to tell this whole multiple life story, it's the undercurrent of that is more about proving yourself, right? Instead of just standing in the essence of your being and your values and how that can be portrayed or verbalized outward when you're feeling your feelings.
I love that you say that. That is so spot on. Yeah, I like to think of it as like kind of masculine confidence versus a feminine confidence. Masculine confidence is very much about the external, like protruding, proving, showing, reminding, telling, hey, I'm good, or I need this, or, you know, you better do that. Whereas feminine confidence and feminine vulnerability is really about just standing and owning it and communicating.
Oh, I love that you talk about the difference between a masculine confidence and feminine confidence too, because most of the world, if what you're watching culturally, if you've been when you grew up, it was about the external confidence and pushing forth out. So I don't even think we probably as women have identified those differences, and that the masculine confidence is the thing that has helped us be the powerhouse, successful women we are. And that the feminine confidence of being grounded in how we feel about ourselves is that magic secret sauce that men fall in love with. That, wow, if you really can understand, I mean, it seems so simple yet unbelievable that when you really love you and rock the you, and you're showing that way in a beautiful, sassy, fun, available, vulnerable way, you can't keep the available, commitment-minded, quality men from approaching you. They get that. They're not scared by that.
Yes, yes. But it's interesting too, because I think even in that of trying to showcase, I love myself, or I know
Well,
I'm
it's just
good.
in your being, right? You're not
It is.
necessarily intentionally pushing that, right?
Yeah, it has to come from your being.
It's
Yeah.
that grace, I guess, you know, when you think of, you know, Audrey Hepburn. I mean, you just think of some people that in their beingness have an energy about them. They didn't have to do anything.
Yes. Absolutely.
I love that.
Beautiful
So when
place.
we're talking about this masculine and feminine, you also have a little bit about how to share how we can utilize our feminine energy more effectively in relationship. So even if we're aware of it and we're starting to get to understand it, we may not be effective of how we apply it in situations. Can you give an example of where it's effective and how easy that might be for people to do?
Yes, totally. So I think, yeah, number one is definitely the awareness of it, of when am I really being in my masculine powerhouse boss babe kind of attitude, in usually in the career world or with friends and family, and then really just making conscious effort to shift into your feminine energy, which means getting out of your head and into your heart. And your breath is a really, really great way to do that. Our bodies are built with this incredible tool called our lungs. And our lungs are actively able to help us to get into our body and get grounded into our heart. And so when I was first really studying this principle of feminine energy, it was really, really a huge eye-opening aha for me of realizing, oh my gosh, like I almost have to take off different hats. And like, not to say that I'm changing who I am, it's just more about connecting into a different part of my identity. And so taking off the masculine hat and putting on the feminine crown. So in your everyday life, if you're going to work doing the 9 to 5 and then you're going to go out on a date with a guy after work, or you're going to come home to your man, actively take a second to say, you know what, I'm going to pause here before I go and meet this guy. And I'm just going to get out of my head and I'm going to get connected to my body and check in with how I'm really feeling right now. And make sure that you're coming from that place, that grounded, centered, loving place, and almost see if you can actually open up your heart. My coach from a long time ago had this amazing analogy where she said, imagine that you have this zipper on your heart and just unzipper your heart and just let it actually shine and open up. And that men can feel. They can really feel the difference when you come into their presence from that state versus if you're just rushing from work and they say, hey, how you doing? And you're like, oh gosh, I was busy and this and that,
Yes.
Energy.
Absolutely. And they have enough of that kind of crazy busy energy in their life, whether they're conscious or unconscious to it. They are not feeling something different than their everyday time and work and whatever. And so then they're not drawn to the uniqueness of it, which when a feminine energy shows up, it's special because it's different than the rest of their time working and sleeping and eating and exercising or whatever it might be, right? And they don't even know it, not consciously, right?
Yeah, it's really, really powerful. And ladies, I will tell you, no joke, this worked so quickly for me when I was first learning it. I mean, I had been operating in my masculine for so long. And then I started practicing the principles with the guy that had friend zoned me for years. And within 2 weeks, he asked me out on a date. We started dating for 6 years and now we're engaged. Like, it really can be that quick. It's just about being aware of it and connecting with it.
And they notice something is different and they may not know either, right? And you just get to say, wow, I get to be empowered to make this shift. It's within me. It's not outside of me. It's not it's not circumstances, but I can really make this happen. That's amazing. Yeah. And that's where you get to feel that powerhouse energy of your creator, right? And the things that you tap into when you're creating in the rest of the world, but you get to do that for yourself, which you totally are worthy of and deserve, right?
Yes, I love that. And I think too, to add on to that, it's almost like sometimes we can get really anxious in our heads when we're trying to make something work with a guy. We're getting worried about things not going a certain way, but this really does pull you back into, wait a second, I am in control of this. I'm in control of how this relationship goes based on the way that I show up.
And what I want and how I feel, rather than controlling or wanting to control whatever that person's doing.
Yes.
And grounded, powerful goddess decisions rather than, being fearful or suffering from indecision when you're not sure what a man is doing or not doing or how he's showing up or not.
Yes. Well, and I think too, it's interesting because we talk about all of this and this is really important, but there's also another level to it and another layer to it, which is making sure that you actually feel worthy of standing in your needs. These are the two pillars that I really support women with, helping them to get into their femininity, but also making sure that they have that groundedness and that self-love and self-worthiness. Because
Yes.
if you don't feel in your core that you are worthy to have needs or have feelings worth being respected, then it's really hard to ask that and command that respect from a man.
Yes. And they feel that.
Yes.
I feel that. So one of the things that I think you shared previously is that sometimes women unknowingly push men away, but they're not really conscious to what that might be. Can you share so we can shift that starting right now?
Yes, definitely, ladies.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
This definitely goes into more of the energetic level, right? Men are really intuitive and they can sense if you are out of alignment, if your outside actions are not in congruency with your internal feelings in your heart. So I was guilty of this in the past too. I was so afraid of seeming needy or seeming overly emotional that I would just stuff down how I was feeling and all the anxiousness and then just pretend that I was fine on the outside, right? But what was happening was internally, I'm just like sending out these vibes of like, ee! And they pick up on it. And it's a subconscious energy that's pushing them away because they're saying, you know what, she's not quite figured herself out yet. I don't want to get near that. Like, I want to be around a woman that has her own self incongruency, because men at the end of the day, they don't want to fix you, and that's not something that you want to do for your partner either. People need to come together already being whole and complete and in alignment with their hearts first to be able to set a healthy foundation. So if you're feeling like you are maybe putting on a face or an external like front to pretend or just hope that, you know, men aren't going to see it, just know that they are. And it's up to you to really take a pause and just get connected to what's going on inside first and make sure that you're feeling good first.
That made me think completely about how I used to be. I didn't realize how much of a people pleaser I was. And that energy of not really being strong in my preferences, because for so long I'd be just go with the flow or whatever you guys want, even with friends, you know, even with family. And it bled over into dating, so that then suddenly a poor guy has no success. He's like, I don't know what to pick. I don't want you to be upset, but you're not giving me any clues. And then suddenly it's also the energy of not feeling secure and grounded in what my preferences are and feeling strong enough and confident enough to speak them without worry about the response, which has always been for me, and maybe that connects with other women that are watching too, is I would worry so much about the response that I would use that as a backtrack to figure out what I would say, which then actually comes across as passive aggressive, which I totally didn't know I was doing.
Oh, that sounds so just messy and complicated. Your poor brain.
The fear of just speaking those, like even the 10 seconds of what you want, once you get past that fear and do it, the freedom that I started feeling and that other women can feel when they do speak their mind without worry about the response, is then you feel more secure about your values and who you are. And then you feel better about how to handle whatever the situation comes back to you, whether it's they agree, disagree. It's a clarifier that they are or are not somebody you want to keep dating or be in a relationship with. If it's something big, something small, it might not be a big deal, but you still feel better about being you.
That is so beautifully said. You just absolutely just articulated that beautifully.
I just was loving that. That was such a great example. Oh my gosh, I've done this.
Yes. And bravo to you for really learning that and
going
through it, and now being able to teach on it and bring all of us together to really help women and men just evolve and grow and bring their love to this
And
world.
I love how you spoke about breathing being feminine, because for me, and I don't even think I knew it at the time when I went through a ridiculously difficult breakup where all of that was happening and I didn't really know and I hadn't owned it and taken responsibility because I just wasn't conscious to it. I started a daily yoga practice, which is all about breathing and core and centering. And so it could be whatever it is, you know, there's breathing techniques too, that it really grounds you in your body and you're feminine. So that I started with that practice they say self-love, but really it was self-compassion. And I stopped beating up myself for being human. It's like, I didn't know until I knew, and I didn't know to change until I did. And I'm going to be messy still and maybe unskillful as I practice this. And now I get to learn and grow. So I want to remind everybody to take and be compassionate with yourself, and don't beat yourself up when you have the aha moments. Be so grateful that they happen so you can move forward, right?
Yes,
In the now, and not carry that suffering and that burden any longer. That's been, your struggles.
yes. And that you are not alone,
Oh,
right? Because
no, God,
let's
no.
face it, we're doing these talks because we're not taught this. A lot of times we're just not taught this, or we don't have the right role models in our lives to showcase this. So I love, being able to stand and share our own struggles, but also know that this is fixable. It's totally fixable.
Absolutely. Now, I know there's one other thing that I think would be fun for you to share. What does it really mean to men when women feel that they're being intimidating to men? Women will say that, but can you kind of unpack or roll back from that? What might be really going on for men to be uninterested, and then for women to speak that is what they believe to be true in this situation?
Yes, yes. Well, this takes us full circle back to the beginning around the masculine energy, right? And being the powerhouse, incredible, driven, ambitious woman that you are. A lot of times we get into this mode, this masculine energy mode, where we want to put out strength. We want to show and prove that we are strong. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that in a man's eyes is one, it's coming off like a very manly approach. And so men don't want to date another man. They want to date a woman, someone to balance them out energetically. And two, it's almost like a big wall to them, a wall around your heart saying, I don't need you. I can take care of myself. I'm fine. There's nothing you can give me that will make me complete. And while all of that is true, this is not what we need to be telling them. We just need to own it. When we invert that as our own core strength and worthiness, then that's the feminine confidence. But a lot of times we stand in this masculine confidence and protrude that out. And then men do. They feel very intimidated or just pushed away. Like, okay, you don't want me. I don't need to be here.
Yes.
But that's not the case.
And so stepping into even, sharing in a different way, saying, I've had this independent life. I have a great opportunities for travel and family, and to really experience the fun things that I like to do. But I really want to I want to buy 2 tickets for theater. I want to go to a concert with somebody. I want to know I have my snuggle partner for Netflix. Like, that's letting him into knowing that they get to join, and you get to join their worlds, but you're not wholly dependent on them or totally independent. So you don't need them to show up for you.
Yes.
And you have to let them in those ways. Give them some examples. I think the tangibles really work. Something concrete. Men can visualize it. So they're so visual, right? They can see themselves on the couch with you. They can see that they like concerts and they like live music. And that's one of the tips I give actually to my clients who have not, or maybe are dating and they're trying to call in their next match. To buy 2 tickets for things. And you can always take a friend, like 6 months out, 8 months, because those things, you have to buy ahead of time, and that's a future you. And if you don't have somebody you're dating or that is significant enough to invite, you get to take a friend, or it's a beautiful way of living into your future possibilities. And I've had many women then like, I can't believe it. They were so excited. It was the perfect concert we ended up going to, because I did this 8 months ago.
Yes, yes. And I think too, it's about really just connecting into what would feel good to you and letting men step up and get to provide, because they do. At the end of the day, it's a real thing. Men want to be that provider, and they want to make you happy. And so the more that you can share, it would feel so good to know that, we can spend Saturday afternoon frolicking at the park or having a picnic, and let them be the one to make the plans and just really practice leaning back.
Yes. Well, I think that's just if you have future plans without a man, and it's just a nice way of having that hope built in, and it doesn't mean you're planning out the whole thing, but I agree.
No, I love that.
Oh my gosh, our time, we've Bye. I had so much fun talking. I want to make sure you have time to share with them your wonderful gift that will be linked right below here, the video.
Yes, absolutely. I have a super fun, amazingly tangible gift for you ladies. If you're interested in learning more about how to become magnetic to men and really connect into your feminine energy, it's called the 8 Principles to Become Magnetic to Men. So you can get that down below. It's super fun, and women really, really love it, and they've been able to apply the specific tools right into their dating and see results. So I highly recommend take a look at it, and let me know what you think.
Thank you so much, Teal Elizabeth. A wonderful time we've had talking. I'm Kate Houston, dating and love coach, and thank you for joining us today.